Here's a group photo of me and all my friends for all 3 of my pictures. You have to find out which one I am and then be disappointed.
Just got this fish. Can you tell? It's in the picture. I caught a fish. I like to hunt.
Yeah, my account says I'm bisexual, but if you're a woman, we'll probably match and then we'll talk and I'll never make it obvious if I'm in.
Here's a meme from 3 years ago, so you know I use Reddit a lot.
I need a man that's gonna treat me like a goddess by sending me $5,000 every 2 days. Definitely need a woman under 5'2" that weighs under 100 pounds that is godly to raise my family with me and also under 20 years old.
I'm a decently attractive dude. You're gonna message me twice, I'm gonna ask to see you naked, and then you're not gonna talk to me ever again, and I'm gonna call you a whore to my friends.
Yeah, me and my boyfriend are looking for a girl to join us.
Sure, we're just using my picture in the first picture, and then 2 swipes later, you see my boyfriend, and he's the most ugly man you've ever seen.
I'm a white woman with the most blonde hair you've ever seen on the most orange tan body you've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm a frat boy from down the road. You can definitely right swipe on me, but you know what it's gonna lead to.
Well, hey there, Indy, turn your dial. Dapper Don's here to make you smile with a co-host sharp and riff so true. We've got the laughs, the rants, the view. What's going on? Oh, what's the word? Indy's the city where we'll be heard. From Monument Circle to Broad Ripple on. What's going on with Dapper Don? So grab your coffee, Hoosiers, and let's get to it. 'Cause we're in the house!
What's going on? It's Dapper Don, and I'm excited to welcome you all back. Ever since the pandemic hit half a decade ago, humanity has never been the same. Being stuck inside, doing virtually everything virtual, completely reconstituted personalities, values, and priorities all across the globe. We weren't allowed to be social, so as a result, we became less social. And the having to stay 6 feet apart rule only made the gulf between us even worse. And don't get me wrong, I'm by no means saying that the way we handled it was wrong. Mostly. What I am saying is that circumstances like that made people more wary of getting too close to, well, everyone. And even when we were finally allowed to function as normal again, the trauma from that time was still firmly implanted in our collective psyches. We learned to get used to that loneliness. We had to. But what if there was a way to unlearn that? Our guest tonight has developed an app that, according to him, facilitates real connections. No scammers, no AI, no bots, and no endless loops of what you doing text. Everybody welcome Gabor Kadas to the show. Say hi to the people.
Thank you for having me.
It's very good to meet you, very good. I was very interested because I've never had an app developer on, nor have I ever actually talked to one in person, so I have a lot of questions just even on the curiosity side.
Happy to answer them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, first thing we're going to talk about is your travels and the loneliness you experienced therein. So, I know you've been to multiple countries and you had to build and rebuild your support system from scratch. What does that kind of loneliness feel like for you?
Yes, basically, I lived in about 4 countries on 2 different continents. And talking about loneliness dominates the pre-internet age. And it was very, very difficult to rebuild your social network, rebuild friends. Once you're out of school, it's getting more and more difficult to do that. And I don't think internet helps in a way it should or could help. So I'm trying to do something about it with the friending apps where we're actually trying to get you off the app out into the real world from the virtual world. It's been tough to rebuild friendships and connections, through continents and different countries. So it's not easy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And tell me, how did you cope with that loneliness? Is there anything you did during your loneliness that you regret?
No, it's not a lot you can do. Pre-internet age, it was very difficult. Nowadays, it is easy in some way, but it's misleading. But at the time, it was very difficult to find friends and just try to participate in activities. I don't regret living in so many countries. You learn a lot. and you learn about the culture, etc. But of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So you win some and you lose some.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know that these countries have a lot of different cultures and different ways about them. What was the hardest part about trying to form connections in these different locales?
In some respects, when I was living in Barcelona, there's a language barrier because I only speak English and Hungarian. I was born in Hungary. So a language barrier is obviously a difficult issue, especially I was in Barcelona and not on a touristy part of town, so it was difficult to communicate.
Right, right. And I'm assuming you couldn't exactly stop somebody on the street and be like, "Hey, teach me this whole other fucking language."
That's right. Unfortunately, Google Translate helps, but it was interesting because they speak Catalan there, which is sort of not resembling Spanish really, but I always set my translator to Spanish, and then they would change it to Catalan to get the proper translation of what I was trying to say. So it was fun experience.
I bet. I bet. So, when in your own life then did you start, cuz it was already hard before, but like after COVID, when did you notice that forming these connections was just harder?
Yes, it is harder because people are no longer, or most people are no longer in a regular work environment. They've been sent home in some respects against their will, so to say, and they enjoyed the social aspect of work, which they don't have anymore. All they have is 8 hours of Zoom as part of work, and perhaps another 8 hours of Netflix as part of entertainment. If you add that up, that's 16 hours in front of a screen and you spend 8 hours sleeping, and that's your day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's gotten to a point where people care more about what show they're going to catch next than forming any real connections.
Yes. Unfortunately, there's a generation out there who forgot, I guess, what social interaction is, because their social interaction was over the screen and not through real human beings, so to say, in real life. And it's a shame. That is why they're having so many difficulties. That is why they are lonely. And some people don't even realize that they are lonely. And that's a bigger tragedy in some respects.
Right, right. And just kind of reiterate for us, just concretely, why do you think the friending app is the solution to this?
Because I think that is the only app that forces you offline because it is not about chatting. The chat is limited. But perhaps more importantly, because you're offline and meeting people, this is the only app where you actually get verified by a third party app called Persona. We're not doing the verification. We don't get your information, anything like that. So there's no other verified community out there. There are other apps which I don't want to mention who attempted a quasi verification, but if you Google it and read about it, you will see that it's very easy to spook them and basically get out of the verification. And their advantage is that there's a bigger community, but the disadvantage of that, you would need to hypothetically verify everybody to make it a fully verified community. We're just building our community at Friending. So, yes, we have the disadvantage that it's a smaller community. We may not be in your town, but the advantage is that we are actually building it from 100% verified people. So eventually, when we'll be bigger, everybody will be verified as they are today as well. But what I'm saying is that the big community will be verified just as today the small one is.
Absolutely. And I think that it's a very interesting thing you've done because I mean, I know you don't want to mention it, but I mean, they're not going to come after me. I'll say this, Tinder has shit verification, Snapchat shit verification, Bumble, Hinge, absolute shit verification. And yeah, it's very easy to just take a picture from like that AI website, this person does not exist, throw it on a profile and pretend to be someone to get money out of a poor, lonely person.
Yes, obviously for, I don't know, legal or whatever reasons, or just trying to be a nice guy. I didn't want to mention anybody, but that's exactly the problem. That because they're large, they have shareholders, etc. They cannot suddenly say, "Hey, okay, from tomorrow you have to verify yourself," because perhaps 90% of the people will leave. There are no actual figures of how many fake profiles are there on that website in terms of percentage. Nobody knows. So, they go by the numbers, number of users, and that's it. That's what governs the stock prices, etc. So it is not in their interest to find a real solution. They're doing band-aid stuff so you can get it in the news that, hey, so and so is doing this, and the other. But it is not a solution that will ever work unless everybody is verified. And I don't think they will be ever able to do that.
Nope. Because if you don't start at 100, then you're definitely not doing it when it gets to the millions.
That's right.
So, how did you come up with the idea for friending? Did somebody influence its creation?
Yes, I met an old friend of mine, Jolt, who is actually the co-founder and CTO about 4 years ago now. And because of my personal experience of being alone in the past, I actually championed the idea of what he had, and we basically pretty much massaged it to come up with what it is today. And even that changed because our original concept was that we'll get people and then we'll find activities offline with them. It turns out that doesn't really work because they need their handheld more. So we have swapped it around, meaning that we are advertising various activities in various towns like New York. And once enough people show up, we'll have the activity, and then those people will become friends online on friending. So we needed to change the order around, not getting users first, but getting people to do activities first, and then turn them into friending users. But all the activities are done by people who have signed up for friending, otherwise they wouldn't be able to participate in the activity.
Okay, and that's kind of a safety measure, I'm assuming, because you just don't want randos, especially in New York and bigger cities, you just don't want randos popping up to somebody's like private volleyball game.
Yes, and in a future release of Friending, having spoken to various female who said, "Well, that's great, but what if feel uncomfortable at a initial meeting, perhaps in a coffee shop?" So what we will eventually do, for example, but you would need to purchase. I don't know. We haven't really looked into it in terms of pricing or whatever, but from a technical perspective, you would need to purchase a Bluetooth bracelet or a keychain, something like that, that would communicate with your iPhone. And then once you have that, if you tap on your screen 3 times, one of 3 things will happen. The police will come, a friend will come, or somebody with friending app installed in your neighborhood will come. Again, giving additional safety because the verification is not ID verification in the sense that it doesn't do age verification. Nothing like that. All it does is, are you the same person who's in your selfie? All it makes sure is that you exist. So, there are people perhaps who exist and want to take advantage of another person. That is why there is the additional safety measure, but at least we know who you are for real. That is our advantage. So we definitely know what you look like and what your real name is, etc. So you would be rather foolish to attempt, I think, to do something bad.
Right, right. And I think that the idea of the emergency bracelet is very interesting, and I do hope that that gets in development very quickly. But I was very curious about what goes into making an app like Friending.
Believe that society needs to change. I think the best example is I'm in my 60s, and when I was grounded and couldn't use my bike perhaps for a week, today your teen or teenage daughter or son may get it as a punishment that they would need to go out and use their bike. So, in my mind, the world has turned upside down.
Yeah, it used to be you're grounded, stay in your room. Now it's you're grounded, get the hell out of here.
Exactly, yes.
And
Basically,
yeah,
sorry, just my background is video game development. So I'm trying to perhaps repent for my sins of doing, I don't know, 30, 40 video games. And I'm trying to give something back to society, to go out there and do something.
I mean, I'd argue that games are contributing something to society. Unless you weren't one of the ones who made Pokemon Go, were you?
No, I did. We made versions of Tomb Raider, Pac-Man, Scooby Doo, etc. So at least people were mostly perhaps playing with other people, but they were still inside. And I believe that you have to find the right balance. And that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how does the friending app distinguish itself from your Tinders, your Bumbles, your Hinges? You don't have to go into too much detail if you don't want to mention them directly, but how does it make itself better than its overall competition?
Well, definitely the key factor is verification. The second key factor is that you only see people more or less in your neighborhood, which is defined as 50 miles. Secondly, or thirdly, I should say, most importantly, is that you cannot become friends until you met up in person. And that fact is verified as your phones have to be next to each other to make a Bluetooth connection. So it's not enough clicking, liking, whatever, and we actually get you off the app. And at the moment, although the app is free, we're thinking of charging perhaps later on $5 a month, which isn't a huge amount, but we don't even want to do that. Of course, we have costs. So what we figured out is we're going to talk to various retailers, perhaps coffee shops, and if you're a friending member, you get a 10% discount from the coffee. So assuming there's a $5 charge for coffee, having 10 coffee a month pays for the membership. So even though during whatever month you didn't find new friends or didn't look for new friends, it didn't really cost you to use the app and be part of the community.
Oh, that's wonderful because I know that a lot of those other apps have charged ridiculous amounts. I mean, you can literally take a payment on an apartment, or at least what used to be a payment on an apartment, like $700. They have tiers that go into the 700s. And even at those tiers, people still report not finding anyone.
Yes, and as I said, we're trying to give something back to society, and covering the cost. Obviously, we need to do that, but it's basically about a win-win situation. You would win, the retail organization would win, and everybody would win and be happy because they would get more customers. Giving a 10% discount of a coffee is doable. The consumer or the user gets their money back and uses the app pretty much for free.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, you've said that dating and friendships are just there to keep you on the app so the devs can make money. So, if this type of app makes money by keeping people on it, do you think an app that, even though this is the right thing to do you think an app that encourages its users off the app is something that's profitable at scale? And if so, how will you do so?
I very much hope so. That's why we have the monthly fee. I don't, but if you have 100,000 users, that's a $500,000 revenue per month. We're not a big organization. We don't have stockholders to account to. Basically, at the moment, we have a few people. Even if we double our workforce and have, I don't know, 10 people, I don't anticipate needing more than 10 people for a long, long time. So I don't really see any need to charge more. As I said, our intent is to help. Yes, make some money in the meantime, but not make extraordinary amounts, as that's not our intention. Our primary, I guess, mission is to help people because it is a disease that's killing people without even them realizing it.
Absolutely. And my last question before we go on a break here is, although reviews for friending are mostly good, users do cite some issues with its presentation, community size, there's some login issues, and user friendliness. How are you improving to accommodate those needs?
Yes, as I said, Jolt, my CTO, started this project about 4 or 5 years ago. If you look at the dates associated with those reviews, you will find them they are 2 or 3 year old reviews. That is basically everything has changed since then from the way you log in with your phone number, not with your email. The whole shape and form of the app has changed. So if you look at the reviews, the negative reviews go back about 2 to 3 years. Current reviews are
Absolutely.
much more favorable.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, I did see that, but I kind of threw that question in there just to test to see if there was continuous improvement happening, if there were updates happening, because I've seen a lot of dead apps. I've seen a lot of them.
No, we update our app at least once a month, probably twice a month. So we're continuously working and improving it. And based on people's suggestions, you can also write to us at hello at friending.com with any suggestions or improvements or comments.
Absolutely. That sounds wonderful. With that though, I think we've reached the halfway point, so it is time for a groove break. When we come back, dear listeners, we'll talk about the possible hurdles this app will have to jump, as well as the separate app he has in development that promises to provide even more deep connections. It's gonna be a juicy discussion that you don't want to miss. You're watching What's Going On with Dapper Don. Stay tuned.
We keep dancing all night long. Red digits on the wall. 2 a.m. still feels small. Sweat rivers on my skin. Every heartbeat locked us in. We keep dancing all night long till the sky forgets the dawn. Round and round we lose control. I give you my body, save my soul. We keep dancing all night long. Eyes closed but the feeling strong. If the sun comes up we're gone. We keep dancing all night long. Your shadow on my chest. Strobe frames every breath you say. Stay another song like we haven't stayed too long. We keep dancing all night long till the sky forgets the dawn. Round and round we lose control. I give you my body, save my soul. We keep dancing all night long. Eyes closed but the feeling strong. If the sun comes up we're gone. We keep dancing all night long. No names, just faces in the haze. Ooh, my hands know your shape like a phrase. We keep dancing all night long till the sky forgets the dawn. Round and round we lose control. I give you my body, save my soul. We keep dancing all night long. Eyes closed but the feeling strong. If the sun comes up we're gone. We keep dancing all night long.
You're tuned in to What's Going On with Dapper Don. Don't touch that dial. For those of you just tuning in, we just got through talking about Gabor's travels and the loneliness that drove him to develop the Friending app. But now I have some questions about some possible obstacles. Because I want to see this app succeed, and I know you listeners do too. But in order to do that, we got to talk about the beast that the hero must tame. So let's spell it out right now. Your competition is numerous. Your competition is steep. You're dealing with multi-million-dollar companies, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Facebook Dating, Instagram, Threads, Pinterest, fucking LinkedIn, and so many more platforms that people have built homes on. What's going to make someone try to build something on Friending?
The simplest answer is if they're fed up being scammed. That is the whole difference. And also if they just don't want to sit in front of their screen all day. So yes, I don't think you've mentioned numerous other companies. I am not sure if competitors are the right word because they live in a different world. They live in a virtual world. We live in real life, and we realize that safety is important in real life, and that's what we're focusing on. Basically, identity verification and outside activities. And name one other app that focuses on either of them, and we're focusing on both. So yes, they're multi-million-dollar companies, but I wanted that they were small ones as well. And I think our concept is unique and differentiates us from them.
Right, right. Absolutely. And the only reason I'm throwing questions in here like this is because, I mean, as you know, this is what people are going to be asking when you start getting those millions. So I just want to clarify things, kind of up front while you're still building the community. That way people know what your stance is.
Yes, that's fine.
Now, the ID verification feature, I believe that that's a great idea, and I believe that the way you've explained it, it will work. And I just have the question, how are you going to ensure people's data is protected?
Two ways. We don't even see their data in the first place. So we're not the one who has to ensure it. Imagine a situation where you're in a grocery store handing over your credit card. All the store sees is a yes or a no in terms of your card being accepted. It is exactly the same in our case. We don't do the verification, and all we're interested in is your ID matching your selfie. And
Okay.
that's it. Long as it does that, you're verified by this third-party app called Persona. We are not, and we're actually, as a user of Persona, we can tell them to delete the data immediately. So that is what we're doing. That pretty much as our connection, we open the connection to Persona. When you start the verification process, once you finish it, we get a response from Persona. We say, that's great, now delete all the data. So I cannot verify that person actually deletes it or not. I don't have any control over that. What I do have any control is I can tell them specifically, fine, delete it now. And that is what we're doing.
Absolutely. And I mean that sounds very good. That sounds like a very good way to make sure that, people aren't popping up with other calls and emails. But another feature that I do want to talk about in the app specifically is these Are You In cards. They stand out to me. Can you kind of explain to the listeners how that one works?
Yes, basically, are you in cards list the activities? Are you in meaning are you into that activity? So you list various activities that you enjoy, being jogging, tennis, soccer game, football game, hockey, whatever it may be. And basically, the algorithm matches people in the same way with the similar interest in your neighborhood. And in your neighborhood is a key part of this matching process because we're talking about actually meeting that person and doing that. And in your neighborhood, it is currently defined as a 50-mile radius, which I'm assuming people would meet halfway or not too long to travel, etc. So
Absolutely.
it's a
Absolutely.
list of activities that you like doing.
That sounds wonderful. So you can just like go in and let's just say I want to play soccer ball. You could go in and can you filter for that specific sport or is it like a suggestion type of thing?
Now you can actually filter for it so much so that if you want to have the setting that way that you can have a push notification telling you that somebody with your soccer ball interest joined in your neighborhood. The other interesting part, which isn't clear from the Are You In card, is let's say I am jogging now at the moment and I decide it would be nice to have a jogging partner. So you can actually do what we refer to as a real time activity, meaning I am jogging now. I can let anybody in the neighborhood know who has interest in jogging to join me, and they can actually track where I am and join me maybe a block later down the road. So Are You In cards are used for planning purposes as well as real-time immediate event occurrence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When this app gets bigger, and it becomes more saturated, you're gonna find that people on that app are saying that they were just as lonely as they were on the dating apps. How do you aim to address that problem?
Basically, friending is a tool. If you're not using the tool correctly, meaning that you're not taking the effort to meet people or go out there, in other words, you want to stay in your comfort zone, there is nothing I can do about that. All I can do is offer you suggestions where you can go, be it various curated events from dinners to hiking to yoga classes to museum. But at the end of the day, it is your decision to participate or not. So I can offer you solutions. If you don't take my hand, there's not a lot I can do to help you.
Right, absolutely. It's like you can give them the rope to climb out of the hole, but if you don't take the rope and complain about being in the hole, it's on you.
That's correct.
Okay. And another thing, is friending primarily for platonic friendships, or will we see some romantic activity happening?
It's an interesting question. Yes, I believe that all relationships start off as friendships. So we may start off as friends and it may evolve into something else. But I believe the pressure is less if it starts off as a platonic
That's
relationship than if it's a sort of starts off as a dating type relationship.
okay, that makes sense. So you're the pressure, it doesn't even come into factor until you guys have met. And then if that's something that's happening, then that's something that happens. But this app is not specifically you trying to find people to date. And I'm assuming people are discouraged from doing that on the app.
They're not encouraged or discouraged. If you feel you found your partner, that's great. Then the app
Mhm.
served more than its intended use, perhaps. But it's certainly the expectation is just to have a good time with others in a safe environment.
Okay. Okay, I'm starting to understand a little bit now. And how are you preventing people from doing the endless chat thing where it's just like, what you doing, what you doing, what you doing, how are you, what'd you have for breakfast, and not meeting?
Basically, I believe that may change because we're still fine tuning things, but at the moment it is set to 10 chat messages. After that, one of you has to send what is called a friending request. And the friending request is pretty much a personal meet request. And you have 30 days to actually do that meeting. If for whatever reason you get busy and you don't get to do it, not the end of the world, you can send out another friending request and you have another 30 days. But the whole idea is to get you off the app, do something real, be it meeting in a coffee place, for example, or anything like that. And we are propagating real things here. So, for example, we actually sell coffee on our website. Other than it being a great coffee, one of the unique features, because we're always going for unique features, is that when I order the coffee for you, for example, I can say, hey, thank you for the podcast. And that message I type in when I order the coffee, when you receive the coffee as a gift, you need to basically, if you order coffee for a friend, let's say I want to say, Don, thank you for the podcast. When I order the
Mhm.
coffee on our website, friending.com, you type in a message that goes with that order, that specific item. And when the recipient, you in this case, receives the coffee,
Okay. So it has to
you need
go,
that. Yeah,
you
there's a
can you
QR
can
code.
have it go to them. Okay. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool right there.
uh, there is a QR code on the packaging that the app reads and gives you your message.
Okay. That's actually pretty sweet there. And that's a nice little surprise for somebody.
Yes, there are birthday versions, city versions. There was um, I don't know, St. Patrick's Day version, and there's going to be a Mother's Day, Father's Day version, etc. It's a gifting
You
idea,
there?
meaning that, hey, I'm thinking of you as another human being. Most people seem to enjoy coffee, so that is why we pick coffee.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So now I just want to pivot over to the deplug events because I know that that's something you guys have in development. Tell me kind of what those are about.
Yes, deplug is a new trend that is finally perhaps turning all this loneliness towards the right direction, because the most important part of deplug, and it's part of the activities that we organize, whether it's a dinner activity, hiking, or whatever, is that there are no phones allowed. And that's pretty much what deplug means, is that there are some bars even today where
Okay.
you need to lock up your
I'm
phones.
having
And
issues hearing you.
I'll try to move closer to the mic. Perhaps that will help.
Uh, it's either that or there's a connection issue. So
Don't know.
yeah,
Hopefully,
just kind of stay close to the mic. Now, can you explain that again?
yes. Basically, the deep plug is a movement that deals with people who realize that
Yeah, you.
loneliness has to do with spending time on their phone. So this event uses regular, I don't know, regular places like bars, dinner place, etc. But the difference is you cannot use your phone, and you have to lock away your phone. You turn it off, etc. And that is the term deplug, meaning that you're unplugged from the your device, I guess. I don't know why it's not called unplug. The trend is called a deplug for some reason.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that actually is a good idea. It's just like, how are you going to make a no phone event like this compelling for someone to show up to? Because there are going to be some people that think of it like the SATs. I mean,
Basically, it's like currently about one third of the people who sign up verify themselves because they're concerned maybe about privacy issue. They may not have their driver's license handy, etc. It's a decision that you have to make. Are you willing to change in terms of doing activities without your phone? And if you're not, then you're not our audience. We need to wait until you realize that you're actually harming yourself both physically and mentally, because loneliness has obviously the straightforward psyche effect of depression, etc. But it also has a physical health effect, from high blood pressure to high sugar levels in your blood to increase blood pressure, etc. So until you decide that you want to change, there's not a lot I can do, as we discussed before.
absolutely. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Now,
Absolutely.
how will you, because there's an AI matching system, or there's supposed to be, and you know people's concerns around AI. How will you ensure that this system is matching people accurately?
It's not that difficult. You don't actually need AI. You could have done it in the traditional sense, where you just actually sort people. There are various sort algorithms that you could use. So it's not a huge task for AI to say, hey, these are the people interested in soccer, these are the people interested in tennis, or these are the ones who want to go hiking. So basically, AI is just a quicker way of programming a traditional listing people and activities next to each other. So it's a straightforward match.
Well, that's excellent. That's excellent. And yeah, I think it's time for the big final question, Gabor. You've been willing to answer my questions here. You've been very open, very honest, even though I've been asking you some very probing questions. So this question, I'm just going to give you a final one, the boss battle question, if you will, that determines it all. What's your favorite video game?
I would say from my younger days, Pac-Man,
Oh, this
and it
man
was
knows peak.
and I actually enjoyed doing a version for Pac-Man on the Nintendo DS, a decade or so ago now.
Man, man, that's peak. That's peak. Okay. So he's a good gamer, good app developer. Shoot, what aren't you?
Well, I try my best, but I'm sure I have my faults as well. Ask my wife.
Well, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners? How can we
Yes.
unlearn our loneliness?
That's a good question. I would try to read up on Deep Log. There's a lot of information on our website, which is friending.com. Try our coffee. It's really great and it's a really unique gift present for people you love. And also, don't be afraid to leave your comfort zone. As there's numerous ways we're trying to help you, at the end of the day, you need to participate to be helped.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there wouldn't be necessarily a loneliness epidemic if more people would just choose to not be lonely. It's completely by choice. So get off those screens, go outside, and you'll find that the world is actually a lot better than what you might find online and what they would have you to believe. So yeah, where can they find these apps when they come out?
It's basic. The iOS version is already available. It's in the App Store. The app is called Friending. You can also download it from our site, which is friending.com. And looking forward to any feedback at hello@friending.com. And we really answer in person, not with AI. I want to stress that because I think that's becoming unique these days.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on, Gabor. You've been a great guest. Like I said, you've been very open, you've been very honest with me, and I've been trying to throw in some burners in there to see what you got. So, yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I look forward to inviting you back on, honestly. I think you've been great.
Thank you. I'm happy to come back. And listeners, thank you for having me and listening to me as well.
Absolutely. Well, anywho, that's all for today's show. If you like this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. My socials and Gabor's website and where you can find his apps will be linked in the description, as well as who helped put this episode together. Follow us everywhere so you don't miss a beat. And tune in next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. for an all-new What's Going On with Dapper Don. You don't want to miss what I have in store. Peace out.